Everybody, welcome back to Breakfast with Bob from CLASH Daytona. My name is Bob Babbitt. We're brought to you by the NASCAR Foundation, Daytona International Speedway, USA Triathlon, Aquasphere, and Varlo. Our next guest, who just set a half marathon PR, 1:14, Jackie Herring. How you doing, Jackie?
I'm good.
How cool is it to keep getting faster?
It's pretty cool. Yeah. Just turned 38 this year, and I actually can't believe that it keeps feeling good and
Right.
things keep moving in the right direction. It's super fun.
Well, and 7th at 70.3 Worlds, like the half marathon PR, 1:14, 13th at Collins Cup, 12th at Canadian Open. It's funny when people see U.S. Open 14th and Canadian Open 12th.
Yeah, that was pretty terrible. Yeah.
No, but you start looking at the dollars from those. Those are like getting podium at a 70.3.
Yeah,
right?
Essentially like winning 70.3.
Right, because
Yeah.
between those two, I'm guessing, is that 20 grand? More?
Yeah, a little more. Yeah, I was really sick. I had COVID and then long COVID.
Oh, my
And
God.
I just kept racing with it, even though I wasn't really able to train. So those were both hard races.
Yeah.
Because my body was not quite there, but I'm glad I did them.
When did you feel recovered from all that?
It was pretty much the week of Ironman Wisconsin. So it was like September 10th.
Yes.
Ish. Finally, I think I was able to do my first workout, and it had been since July. So it was like all just zone 1, maybe zone 2, but
Yes.
mostly just easy stuff for however many weeks that
Right.
was. So it was pretty long.
So this is snowshoe and cross country ski and all that type of time for you?
Now?
Yeah.
Yeah, after this, it was a super long season of racing with all the PTO stuff and the Ironman stuff in the beginning and Alcatraz. I've been traveling for a race every month since March.
Oh my
so
God.
I'm going to take like a super break for the holidays.
Good for
and
you.
then just hang out with the fam and chill, and obviously exercise I like, so I'll do whatever feels good. But yeah, then it's straight into snowshoe season and, eventually getting back into training.
It was funny. We were just interviewing Rach McBride, and she was talking about all the gravel and mountain biking that she's doing and how she sort of surprised herself because she doesn't have to run as much. Not have to, but she doesn't run as much, but just the constant racing and the constant doing other things just is always tuning the engine. Have you found that you basically race year-round between snowshoeing and then getting in triathlon and then jumping into an occasional half marathon? All that works together.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I love racing,
Yeah.
of all
Yes.
types of racing.
Right.
Yeah, I mix in breaks, but, racing is really what I enjoy doing. I don't just I'm not somebody who likes to train and train and train and train some more. I like
Right.
to train for the purpose of a specific race goal and use races to kind of build towards other races. So yeah, the running and snowshoe and it all kind of fits together, I
So
guess.
during the winter, did you do a lot of indoor training on the bike?
I do, yeah. I ride the trainer quite a bit,
Yeah.
and I've got a ton of gear, and we've got the fat bikes, and if it's a decent sunny day with no wind and it's not too icy, I'll be outside on the bike, even if it's
Really?
freezing, really cold. Doesn't bug me as much as those nasty windy days. You don't
Windy.
know because you live in the South, but
Listen, I'm from Chicago. Come on now. We know we had 60 below for, I think, 3 straight weeks before I finally moved to California. I'm like, I'm out of here.
that did you in.
Packed up the car and said, oh, this is enough. So these races on the track, these are really fun, right? You put your head down and go. Have you been on the track since you've been here?
Yeah, I got in. This is a really short travel, much shorter than I'm normally comfortable with, but I got in late last night and this morning was able to get out on the track, and just like old times, I remembered the gnarly headwind on the backstretch and then the nice tailwind on the front part here, and it works well for this time of the year for people coming from the Midwest because it's just like a trainer ride. You've got like work session and then resting session. So kind of using the wind to make it into a 15-lap trainer ride.
Yes, and so last year you won this thing.
Yeah.
So you're defending champion.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's super fun. I'm, I think at the point in my career where I've been racing, and I don't know if I've ever been number one in a race. And I don't know. I think I just value these experiences now more than the younger me would have.
Right.
Where I can just really appreciate how cool it is to be here and be in good shape and be healthy and be able to defend a title against a whole bunch of talented ladies.
Oh
so
my God.
we'll
People
see.
coming here from Abu Dhabi, right?
Yeah.
People coming from World Championships,
Yeah.
and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm 38. I'll take them down. It's
Yeah.
not a problem.
Well, you
What the
never
hell?
know. Yeah.
So last year you got third at Miami and first here. So obviously you like this format.
Yeah, I like it. I'm used to a lot of the trainer stuff, and I really love running on any type of track.
Right.
I love
Yeah,
track
yeah.
workouts. I love stuff that's easily split up and measured. I think mentally it makes it easy to get through. So
Right.
yeah, I really enjoy these, and I think the CLASH team just does a super job of making all of us pro athletes feel like they really want us here and they take care of us, and that means a lot. As someone who's been racing for so long, you can really feel a difference, and that's important to me.
Absolutely. And the Alcatraz, it's cool. You get the Collins Cup, and this is a great era with what PTO is doing, what
Yeah.
CLASH is doing. Now, CLASH is going to add a couple more races next year. They went from 2 to 4 to next year it sounds like 6 or 7. PTO sounds like they're adding
Same thing.
same thing, right?
Mhm.
And those are, like we said, those are $1 million prize purse events.
Yeah.
It's a good time to be a pro and to be sort of you were a full distance person,
Yeah.
and then you step back, and when I watch Christian and Gustav right now, going from long to shorter is really difficult. You know it better than anybody. And how hard was that transition, going from being a full Ironman person to going, you know what, I've got kids.
Yeah.
I can't be I can't go do 6-hour bike rides.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I was just talking to Haley Chura about that, saying how it's just changed. We were reminiscing. We were in Kona, our first Kona. Actually, it was her second, my second and her first back in 2012. And we were
10 years
reminiscing.
ago.
We were reminiscing about like how long we've been doing this sport. And,
Yes.
she still does the fulls, and I haven't done a full now since 2015.
Right.
And it's fun. I think for me now, the training is so different. Being fast is not my natural way to be.
Yes.
I'm an endurance person, and that's what's natural to me. So it's been a fun way to change the training, and it almost feels like I'm doing just like completely new stuff compared to what I was doing 10 years ago. And of course, I'm a different athlete now, and I've grown, and you just learn a
Right.
lot as you go.
Have you had, as you become 37, 38 years old, have you had to change a lot in terms of training, like speed work? I have to do, I believe, more gaps in between the days I do speed work. Anything like that, or not really? More strength, more flexibility?
Not really. I do, I stay up on my main, I guess, pillars, which
Right.
are just like sleep, eating healthy, and I do get massage every week.
Right.
Just things that fall in the category in my mind of just like caring for myself and caring for my body, and definitely not things I was paying close attention to in my 20s. And I think now if you get lazy on things like that, then
Yes.
everything starts to kind of hit the fan. So yeah, nothing too groundbreaking. I love, I love speed work, and I love doing hard running and hard rides too, but yeah, I haven't cut back on it.
Since you've made this transition from long back to 70.3 and Challenge and Collins Cup and all that, what do you look at as your best race?
I think still my best race is probably Collins Cup last year. Yeah, where I had Jeannie Metzler and Ann Haug.
Yes.
That was a real.
And you
not
beat
only
them both. You won it.
Yeah, I won it, and not only was it just, everything was clicking correctly that day, but also I mentally had to like dig into a really deep space, and I just love when you know, it doesn't happen that often that you get to go to that deep, deep place and
come out the other end.
And come out the other end successfully. So
exactly. Yeah.
So that was just cool to access that and just feel that. And I love that feeling. I think that's why a lot of us keep racing, is for moments like that where you can be in the flow and then also realize how deep you have to dig to get the most out of yourself.
Well, and especially when you're talking about back then, you had Annie Hogg, who was a 2019 Ironman World Champion, and had finished third the year before that. And at that point, Jeannie Metzler was rolling. She had been racing really, really well.
Well, she went on that next month to get second at Worlds.
Yeah, she got second at 70.
She was the real deal.
Yeah. No
she
question.
Still is. I'm sure she's going to be.
She's going to be back stronger than ever.
Yeah.
And you were the underdog. And I think you had a bad swim line during
they did.
Oh, they had. That's right. You stayed spot on.
I was like doing my thing, and then they came back to me. I think that's what helped me.
Yes.
Is because then I didn't lose that much to Jeannie.
Yes.
So that.
Yeah, and
the dynamics, you just never know.
No.
You know what's gonna happen, and that's what kind of makes it fun.
And you're running with Jeannie. That had to be cool.
Yeah, that was a fun experience. We were, obviously both working pretty hard, and I think it was about 6 miles. We hadn't said a word. We were just like locked in death match. So
that's always fun.
it was super fun. Yeah.
Have you had over the years? You've had a number of those where you're side by side or not really?
Yeah, not for that long.
Yeah,
and
6 miles is a long way.
Yeah, and 6 miles at I think we were running maybe 5:40s.
Yes.
We were both just desperately trying to break each other, and that's what made it kind of special. Is oh man, this is super hard.
2019, right before COVID hits, you have you win Waco, you win Traverse City, you win Steelhead, you have 3 wins. It's a great season.
Yeah.
And then the world shuts down. that had to be tough.
Yeah, it was weird. I was on a good roll, and that was the first year. I had my second kid in 2018. So that was the first year where I was committed to 70.3. This is what I'm doing now.
Right. This is my new world.
I was starting to get success, so I was super happy. And and then COVID. So definitely bummed. But then, I don't know. I kind of refocused quickly. Zwift put on a bunch of races, and I got really into improving my bike. So I think in the scheme of, my racing career, it was probably good for me.
Yeah. It sort of allowed a lot of people, rather than training, racing, traveling, recovering, to go, I've got 6-7 months here where I'm just can put in solid block of training with no distraction, besides having children, with no distractions.
Yeah. Yeah, that was definitely a great benefit. And I think that's why now the sport is at a completely different level.
No question.
It's pre-COVID triathlon, and now since COVID, everybody is a beast. And if you're not a beast, then you're oh, shoot, what happened?
How do I become a beast?
Yeah.
Well, you think about just from 2019 in Kona, 2019 to 22, 3 years not there, and look where the times went.
Yeah.
It was oh my God, it's crazy. And the ante keeps getting raised. I think Patrick Lange just ran 2:30 this weekend at Israel, and I talked to Sebastian Kienle the next night in Germany, and he's that was not a short course. That was a hard run course. And
I checked their Stravas. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's natural, right? When you see somebody go really fast, you're going, okay, was it legitimate? And nowadays it's pretty much spot on.
Yeah.
You can't sort of fake those things. Alcatraz. That's a great race, and that seems to fit for you in terms of just it's one of those events that is different, right?
Yeah,
Similar
it's got the grit.
Yes.
I like the toughness factor of Alcatraz, and I'm waiting to see if I get to go there next year, kind of based on PTO schedule,
right?
And we don't really know what our race schedule looks like yet for a lot of us, so kind of wait and see.
You've got, with PTO, with the $1 million prize purses, if there's 4 of those plus Collins Cup, that's sort of a season, right? Then you sort of fill in around that, because that's how you make a living.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Right? That's it.
I think if you have the opportunity and you qualify to race the PTO races, it seems to make the most financial sense.
Right.
To go and do those.
Well, especially as a mom, you sort of have to pick and choose when I'm going to be away.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe if, they're most likely going to be one over in Asia, and
Right.
potentially that would maybe be one I would skip just because that seems like a huge,
like
commitment.
if they're in Dallas again and if they're in Edmonton again, those are easy. Those are great. Those would be really, really cool. Is there something you haven't done in this sport that you want to do? Is there a race that you haven't done?
Well, I think I just watched, now that they have such good coverage on all the Ironman races, I am having feelings about an Ironman, and now my kids are in school.
Yes.
I could do an Ironman, so I need to really like let that thought simmer a little bit, because I don't know, I feel like Roth would be really cool just to experience.
You need to experience
I think it would be kind of amazing. So that's on my mind. I think, I don't know if I need to do the Kona thing again.
You've been there. How many times did you race
I
that?
raced there 4 times.
Yeah.
I didn't ever like do an amazing job as a pro, but also I don't know if I need to.
No. You've done so much other stuff.
Yeah,
but
so maybe Roth or maybe, I think just experiencing a lot of these races, going to the races that I know I like, going to maybe if the PTO has some cool new locations.
Right.
But a lot of it now is just getting to go see your friends every month that you race with. And,
exactly.
You know, we have gotten quite a good community thanks to the PTO races that we're used to seeing each other. You have your same buddies. You get to hang out every month, and I enjoy that.
You know what? And it's funny because I was talking to Vincent Luis yesterday, and he was talking about when they do the
TCS.
The TCS used to be WTS.
Yeah.
When they do the WTCS races, they basically are in their own little bubble. They go in. There's really no age groupers.
Yeah.
They do Yokohama and these other places. So it's a little sterile.
Oh,
all right.
yeah.
Yeah. And where he loved being at La Quinta last year and seeing all these people lined up to meet Lionel, and just that camaraderie between the age groupers and the pros. And you obviously love that as well because they're on the course at the same time as you are, which makes a connection that I don't think other sports have.
Yeah, that's a cool thing about triathlon, and it's been fun. You know, I've spent a lot of time on the trainer, so I watch everybody's YouTube, and I think in that way, I'm just like any other age grouper where, hey, you can relate. Everyone's working hard. We've all got our goals.
No
We're all
secrets anymore.
There really are no huge secrets except for keep doing it for a long time and, make smart choices for your body, and eventually you get better.
I tell people that all the time. I say, when you talk about the skill set to do our sport, it's like if you wore arm floaties as a kid and you had a paper route and threw papers and you played capture the flag, you sort of have our skill set.
Yeah.
Swim, bike, run. It's not, you don't need to be 6'8". You don't need to weigh 300 pounds.
Right.
It's just the average person can go out and create greatness just by doing it. What do your kids think about this, our crazy mom who's off traveling the world and is one of the best in the world?
I don't know if they think I'm crazy. I think they think it's pretty cool. They're finally getting to ages where I think they can appreciate it. And this year we made a point to bring them to a lot of events. So they were at, I think, St. George 70.3. They came to Canada.
Oh,
they came to Dallas, St. George again. So I think they were at least 4 races. And so they really now are just true fans of the sport. They've got to meet everyone.
Oh,
We've
that's
got
so cool.
Pictures with the Norwegians and Hunter, got picture with Lionel, and they cheer yo 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 all the time. So they're just like super tri fans now, essentially. So
that is so cool.
I think now they think it's like pretty cool.
They bring mom to school for show and tell. You know that is?
They do. If I win anything. Like, for example, here last year, Hunter thought the helmet, they give you a NASCAR helmet.
Yes, they do.
He thought that was amazing. So he definitely brought that to school. And his teacher was like, wait, what do you do? What do you do on the weekends? Like, she couldn't quite get her. She thought I was definitely crazy. But Hunter's just like, oh, yeah, this is my mom's job.
This is what she does. She travels to Samarin and goes and wins money and races against the best people in the world. And she's on national television all the time.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Not very many kids get to say that. That's pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
Well, you've picked a good job.
Yeah, turning out that way the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Early on, there was some
it
struggles.
Was tough going. Yeah.
I mean, back in the day when you're doing Ironman races and the prize money's going, 5 deep, 7 deep, whatever, and you're coming away with, you're one spot away from the dollars, and you're.
Well, I usually made money, luckily, but I do remember I won Ironman Wisconsin, and I think it was $5,000 for the win.
Yes.
In 2013.
Yeah, yeah.
And that is sad stuff.
That was really bad.
That was really bad.
And at least you didn't have to travel,
yes.
right?
Slept at home, so it all worked out.
Yeah. But if
crazy.
you're going back in the day when you're going to Hawaii,
yeah,
that was an expensive trip. If you're coming
Right.
away and you're not on the podium,
Right.
you lose money.
Yeah.
And that's not why anybody does that.
Well, yeah. I mean, partially you do it for the experience, I guess, but at some point you have to decide if, somewhere in your later 20s maybe, like,
Yes.
hey, is this for experience and fun, or is this a job?
Is this a job?
So
Yes.
I think that's where a lot of people don't make it past, the early stages, where if they just hung on a few years more, maybe
Right.
they would come, make their way up.
Is there any money in snowshoe racing or any of that stuff? There's nothing, right?
Not really. No, I have a snowshoe sponsor, Northern Lights.
Oh, nice.
Snowshoes, shout out.
There you go. That's our first snowshoes shout out
Yeah,
ever.
anyone
on Breakfast
message
with
me
Bob.
if you need a discount code for snowshoes. But right now, I am actually the director of US Snowshoe, so I work on kind of just growing the sport
Yes.
through partnerships through that,
Mm-hmm.
rather than for myself. It's more of just like my passion project,
Right.
just to try and help grow the national event, and then also just get kind of brands and partners who want to give snowshoe members discounts
Exactly.
or perks or whatever. So
Is snowshoeing in the Olympics?
it is not. That's the problem.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
It does need to get in there, because then think about all Norway, Finland. These
Yeah.
guys would be into this. They're doing it every day,
Right.
and it would change everything.
Yeah.
In terms of it. And I'm surprised because they need more winter sports.
I know. Well, I think they added the winter triathlon, or
did
might
they
have
add-
been added,
Oh,
or they
could've
were
been.
talking about it.
Okay.
But yes, that's definitely a thing. And Snowshoe Canada, I think, is a bigger thing than what I just took over.
Right.
And I think I'm going to try and speak with them and see if this is something we can try and work on.
Well, that's basically. It sounds like us back in the 80s and 90s trying to get into the Olympics for triathlon.
There you have it.
You never know.
You never know. And I think it is a bit of a process, but a sport will grow once it gets in the Olympics.
There's no question
Yeah.
about it. Yeah. Jackie, it's always such a treat.
Yeah,
we
thanks,
get to
Bob.
go in a lot of different directions. I always learn stuff. If you need snowshoes, right here, Jackie Herring. She's got them for you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jackie.
Thank you.
Jackie Herring has been our guest, everybody. Breakfast with Bob, CLASH Daytona. Hold on. We will be right back.